I'm really happy to be part of this day. Today was the 16 days of activism against GBV run, and we've had a really huge turnout. It was such a great time, and I'm really happy because it will be a beginning. It's the beginning of the whole country, national and international, for us to know more about gender-based violence. I'm really passionate about people knowing the effect it has in the society and how we can prevent this issue in the society at large.
People are getting to know what GBV is about, and they are getting sensitized, and the community is becoming aware, more and more aware.
I was running because it's the start of the 16 days of activism against gender-based violence. So we usually have a run to create awareness and make a change against gender-based violence.
I think it's creating awareness. Anyone who thought they are facing violence, they should just speak out. They should not be silent. Yes.
The run means a lot to me as a gender student, and what I can say, it's about creating awareness to the community and also to individuals who doesn't know about GBV, which is gender-based violence.
Any person who's undergoing violence wherever they are, so we're creating awareness for them, and they don't have the voice to speak up for themselves, so we're creating awareness for them.
As we embark on the 16 days of activism against gender-based violence 2023, we gather today not just as spectators and participants of the run, but as participants in the global movement against gender-based violence. As we commence this short documentary, capturing the voices of advocates of change against gender-based violence, let us all reflect on the power of unity, compassion, and determination to create a world where every voice is heard, every survivor is supported, and every act of violence is met with unwavering defiance. Let us invest to prevent violence against women and girls.
This event has been something that we have planned for quite a while. I was privileged to be part of the planning committee, and just seeing it into fruition is just a beautiful thing. I'm a firm believer in the fact that this is not just a conversation that should happen here. I believe that this is just the ignition of the fire.
16 days of activism is actually just to emphasize what we've been doing out throughout the year. Culmination of different activities, but then the most important bit is to always tell people that we need to work towards preventing sexual violence. But then with those cases that happen, we make sure that we support survivors being able to access comprehensive care and support. But then the most important bit of it is access to justice. So this is just a culmination of what has been happening throughout the year.
Today we are here to commemorate the 16 days of activism which started yesterday. And our theme for Nairobi, for the whole country, and unite, invest to prevent violence against women and girls. Nairobi County is committed in prevention strategies, responding, and also creating awareness to the community on the vices of sexual and gender-based violence.
As a GBV champion, I believe that violence, especially against women and girls, do not have any space, and therefore it's important for me as a man and as a GBV champion to basically respect the rights of women and girls in our community, and also to prevent to prevent GBV at all costs within my community.
For a very long time, we've always left out survivors when we are developing interventions, and to make sure that interventions are survivor-centered, we need to have survivors in the room and at the table. Proper engagement with survivors, meaningful engagement with survivors. Because at the end of the day, if you are developing interventions and they are not survivor-centered, trauma-informed, and in the best interest of the survivor, then we will not be able to even emphasize on uptake of services. When you have survivors in the room and they are engaging with the different mechanisms, they actually make sure that they actually take the information and the available services back into the community. So then that will always improve uptake of services, whether it's at the county level or at the national level.
For this particular day, I'm keen about what is happening around gender-based violence targeting children. We have interventions that are going on, but our focus mainly is on adults and not children. So I still feel that children are being left behind, and we need rescue centers for children who have either been, who've gone through gender-based violence and they've survived it. So as when they're going through the system or when they're going through the justice process, they're able to be, they're taken care of. And before they're integrated back to the community, we need to also focus at the household level. Just try and equip the community on how to take care of this child who has actually survived gender-based violence, and support them through making sure that they go back to school, they go through their full, I would say full support in terms of education, so that they can be equal partners when they grow up.
As we stand now, Nairobi County has so far seen between July to September, we are already at 1,234. And by yesterday, when we were looking at the data, as we were doing this, we already had around 6,544 survivors. When we compare to last year, same period, we have more survivors now. And one of the things is that we can say that the data, much as it is high, it brings, it shows us that there's an awareness creation that has been done, and now survivors are able to come out and talk about issues of sexual and gender-based violence.
The truth is that the data shows that more than 60% of survivors of gender-based violence are women. So it is very clear the need for us to focus our support on women and girls and preventing them from, or just safeguarding the environment so that they do not experience gender-based violence. But I believe that there is a very important role of men in the entirety of this process. We know that women don't live in isolation. We also understand that every environment that women and girls are in also has to include men and boys. So we believe that the conversation cannot just stop at just engaging women and girls, but we believe that men are also important in this. And we as Gender Violence Recovery Center, or GVRC, we are very available to one of our services to survivors of gender-based violence at our Nairobi women branches. Here in Nairobi we have 2, in Kajiado we have 2, and in the rest of the other counties in Meru, Mombasa and Nakuru.
So male engagement and inclusion for us is key in this whole space of gender-based violence, based on the fact that we've been doing a lot of interventions in regard to ending GBV and other harmful practices, and yet we've left the custodians of culture, we've left the decision makers, we've left the guys who call the shots within even the basic structure of our community, which is the family, as well as the other discourse at the community, as well as even the higher levels.
So we are trying to enroll more men into the action, into the movement, because they usually say that men don't know about this thing. That's why they are the perpetrators. So we are trying to enroll more of them.
GBV is very rampant from the community where I come from, that is Kamukunji constituency. And we've been trying as much as possible to, first of all, to create awareness on gender-based violence, and more so to include men, because as you are all aware, men are the custodians of culture, and by engaging men, they can be very good partners in terms of preventing gender-based violence within our community.
I think They're doing so much already. And for us, it's just to tap the funding that is available and see how best we can have interventions that target children at school, when they're in school, with information on how to stay safe, how to make sure that they're able to speak out in case they go through any abuse, and which avenues they can report. I know we have gender desks at the different stations. We have police, we have services at the clinics, at the government clinics, but some of this information, the children don't have it. So we need to really accelerate how to give this information to the children at the schools, at the communities. We can target the churches during Sunday school so that these children can also be equipped with information on how to reach out for help.
Talk about gender, not as a women issue, but gender as men, women, boys and girls, inclusion of even special population. And be able to just look at what is it that we are not doing right in the space of elimination of gender-based violence, so that we can really bring the numbers down. So we are concentrating more on issues of prevention.
Generally, men also are survivors of gender-based violence, and you'll find that most men fear to come out whenever they encounter incidences of gender-based violence within our community, because of course for fear of stigma, discrimination, and also for fear of ridicule. But within our own spaces, we've been really encouraging men to come out and to break the silence, to report cases of gender-based violence whenever maybe they are violated.
And as we are here, this run was not only planned by the Nairobi County government alone. We were together with implementing partners who have supported us in various ways. We have partners who support survivors of sexual violence. We have those who are doing capacity building. We have those who are also doing community ground awareness, and we have those who also do shelters. And of course, working with the state and non-state actors. We also had the national police, the women judges, the prosecution. So we were a whole multitude of people who gathered here to commemorate the 16 days of activism.
Yeah, we are having community dialogues. And these community dialogues are not just really looking at the aspect of women and girls. We also have a community dialogues in respect to boys, in respect to men. And we are bringing about the issues of transformative change in terms of gender norms. So we want to really have these discussions going on at the community level, men taking the lead in terms of the messaging. Men saying, we are having now even discussions going on around sensitization and FGM. So we're having now the boys coming in and telling the community, or even telling the elders, as we might say, that for us, we are seeing that FGM does not have any reason or any advantage within our society to be able to be practiced. So the change agenda, or the theory of change there, is that the boys are saying, going forward, we are not going to marry circumcised girls. So to that extent, as a strategy, we see that it's going to really help in terms of just elimination of FGM as an example. But besides FGM, also the aspect of whether physical, sexual, as well as emotional violence, the men are taking lead in terms of sensitization with even the other men.
Sisi kama youths, by the way, we have sisters, we have our parents kama madhe, and tunataka pia sisi to come to marry our madem, si ndio? Na mimi na feel poa sana kama mjamaa, kwanza kama youth, nikiona hii story ya tene kama hizi sijui ile inaitwaga hii circumcision inaitwagaje, nimesahau kidogo. Hii female FGM bana. Ilikuwa inafanyika kwa mademu wa young. Sasa mimi kama man na stand kustopi kitu juu si poa, na mimi naweza taka pia, so hii generation ikikama up hivyo tuna change vitu completely. Ile story ya tennis juu FGM nini, hizi stories za kupiga mawife ati kama umpigi ati umpendi, hizo ni story ya past na ni narrative za uongo. So mimi na feel kama man na youth tuna change narrative.
We just don't want to keep on responding we also want to have prevention mechanisms on the ground. That includes talking to our children in the school health programs. That includes capacity building of people in the community to be able to understand, to look at what sexual and gender-based violence can do. And that also includes working with state and non-state actors. And that gives us the room where we have the gender sector working groups coming together with a multi-sectoral formation to ensure that these activities are able to be implemented in a seamless way, and to ensure an end-to-end justice for survivors of sexual violence who in most times rarely get an opportunity to talk for themselves.
Nimemeet different people wale wamepitia at least kukua abuse na wame open up, at least nimemeet wengine tumeshare nao pain zile tunapitia kwa community. Niko proud leo, siku ya leo, at least nimekimbia, nimefeel courage nyingine, nimepata courage nyingine na nimelearn more. At least hata nimepata medal. Hata nikienda mtaa yangu anazauliza hii medal umetoa wapi, naweza explain. Na nimeappreciate watu wameorganize siku ya leo na wa thank tu sana. Kama mimi natoka Bhesp, mimi ni PE educator. At least nimelearn something, naweza ongea na wenzangu hapo kwa community. Thank you guys.
And today has been a great day for me because I've learned a lot of things. I've interacted with many people, so many people that I didn't even know. I've networked with many organizations, and I went for a run which nikakuwa top 30. Nimechoka, but it's okay, at least I've won a medal. Now, in anything that atakwambia community is that the community should know that they are not alone. We'll stand with them. DBV, we should not allow DBV. And in case of anything, they are empowered, they know where they will be reaching for services and help in case of they need it.
We are going to strive to end sexual and gender-based violence. We know that silence perpetuates violence, so we want everyone to speak out so that we can end this vice.
This 16 days of activism has really brought out the good work most organizations are doing, partnering with the government and the donors. It's an opportunity to just showcase what our country has been doing around GBV, and organizations that have come up to support, especially survivors, the women survivors who've gone through much, through so much abuse. They are not empowered to actually take care of themselves. But organizations are doing so much just to bring up I would say the self-esteem of these survivors in different ways. And for these days, for the 16 days, with all the different activities different organizations have been doing, I think the message has been passed across. We really need to stop gender-based violence. It's a vice. It is not healthy. It leads to mental health issues, especially for the teenage and the young people. And not everyone is able to come out of it. Not every survivor is able to come out of it in a healthy way. But for organizations that are doing something around it, it's bravo to you.
My department is capacitated to provide coordination, implementation, and to ensure there is effective service delivery. So what have we done as a county? We have what we call integrated Tumaini SGBV clinics, where survivors can be seen at all levels. We acknowledge the gender violence recovery centers, but we look at the Tumaini clinic so that a survivor can be seen. Tumaini clinic is a room. When you come to any public facility and ask what is a Tumaini clinic, that one is specific because of sexual and gender-based violence. But and currently we have 46 of them. The other issue that has been giving us a lot of challenges was the issue of mental health. And we have brought it together because as we have the 46 integrated SGBV clinics, we also have 27 mental health facilities that are providing these services to our survivors and also the caregivers, and just to ensure that whoever gets these services can be able to reach us at any level. We have a toll-free line, Nairobi County, that is 1508. As you are aware, together with the national government and Affirmative Fund Action, we have a safe space or a shelter that the Women Reps Office has really championed us to have this. And also we have the 17 sub-counties where we have gender desks that are going to be anchored within the police stations, working together with already the existing polycare so that we strengthen the systems and ensure that survivors are covered at all corners. Nairobi County, we are also lucky because we have an SGBV court that was launched in Kibra just the other day, and also the Court Users Committee has come up to have a specific Court Users Committee for matters sexual and gender-based violence. And also working with survivors of sexual violence, we have formed groups that support them on the same. We have ensured that we have medication, as you have already been told by our governor. We have medications within our facilities, and we, much as it might be a challenge, we have implementing partners who have also come on board to ensure that they provide us with that support.
The rallying call to development partners, donors, and any other person who has resources towards supporting prevention or responding or protection of survivors is we have limited resources towards these specific three thematic areas. And for me, it's how do we build the capacity or even support the grassroots organizations that are actually engaged in preventing, in responding, and also protecting of survivors. Why not localize the funding to the lowest level so that as we bottom-up approach, where we are supporting the grassroots women rights organizations to be able to even engage with the national mechanisms.
The government is trying to really assist in terms of really the decision makers coming on board in our campaigns, in our engagements, but where the gap is in terms of budgeting. So we're also sensitizing the leadership in terms of really helping us out in gender responsive budgeting. This is a debate that has really happened and still continuing for the last 3 decades. What is gender responsive budgeting? It needs to be deliberative. We need resources within that space, yeah, so that we can have the interventions really budgeted for and they're in the recurrent budget. Most of the time we are depending on really partners in support in this cause. Whereas when you look at the aspect of protection, social protection, where even gender is really inclined, the government needs to come out very strongly.
I'm happy because the justice system right now is really trying to accelerate matters or issues that have been reported, especially targeting the children. But I think we can still do much more just to keep our children safe.
Nairobi City County, we've developed an SGBV Act, yeah, that is already passed. What we are working on is the policy, just to give it an implementation framework. So in regards to the other laws and policies, we are really aware of them. We know there's the online child sexual exploitation and abuse. We have the issues of also cybersecurity issues. We're also having now the Ministry for Gender. The other day, a few months ago, they were able to launch the regulation in regards to Protection Against Domestic Violence Act. So we are really on course. We are sensitizing individuals around issues of prevention. We're also sensitizing the community around issues of response. We also sensitizing this community around the issues of really the criminal justice system in regards to who wants to access the services of the courts. We're also trying to address the issue of reintegration, both the perpetrators as well as the survivors within the community, because it's a whole cycle. So we are really privy of the existing laws, and even the sensitizations are really anchored to what our laws provide. I can say Kenya as a country have very progressive laws as well as policies. What we just need to do is the aspect of implementation.
My parting shot today will be for civil societies. As we rally behind ensuring that we end sexual and gender-based violence, let our end goal be that survivor. And let's also look at that survivor as a whole and rounded person, that whichever support you're giving at any level has to be survivor-centered. And that we ensure that this survivor can be able to be supported at any time by any of us. And let's just not focus on targets. Let's look at what is the end goal, because that is where, again, we end up not doing what we need to do best. And let's remember, GBV hurts.
Together, let us shine a light on the stories that need to be told, the voices that need amplification, and the change that is long overdue. This is not just a documentary. This is a statement of our collective commitment to end gender-based violence and to build a future free from fear and injustice. Thank you all for joining us on this crucial journey. Let us invest to prevent violence against women and girls.